All right, we are good to go. So, okay, if I'm being entirely honest, this move does not shock me. I think once we got to around 80k, people really wanted this CME gap thing, and we can talk about why I don't like this bid. But this is the obvious bid people wanted, right? Just this whole region here, and then if we zoom in a little bit, right, go all the way back, it's this whole part. Just to understand where these numbers come from, this is this CME gap people want, is this whole thing here, right? It's just above previous highs, and if we draw this all the way across, right, this is going to be our gap. Now, I guess we kind of touched it, but the real block that held, if I'm being honest, is this one here, right? It's just this whole region, this 783 mark. Yeah, this does not. This is kind of the gigabit here, right? All of this block is actually what gave us the move up. And if we draw this all the way across, right, it's this block. And to me, this makes a lot of sense. If you go back to the 50k range, you'll see something very, very similar. So if we draw this all the way across, it's before we actually got the move down to here, it's this exact same block that holds, right? It's this thing, right? And if we draw that across and then go look, right, it's that same region over here, right? And just like last time, this block, right, and we can go back to a daily chart and kind of look for the same thing. But it's this sort of stairs up consolidation, right? Exact same thing that we saw, right here. And these are usually good levels. So to me, like, getting that bounce there isn't that surprising. And what I also think, honestly, is that if you come all the way back down here, this is not bullish, right? This is a perfect retest. In this entire bull market, right, they've never actually given you a perfect retest. Every single previous level has been front run, right? So whenever you get some sort of range breakout, if you guys look, right, right, the price is actually never coming back to these previous highs, right? Not once in the bull market have we actually had that. So if you start doing that now, I don't think this is bullish, right? And hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from here. Is if you guys look at Sol, right, and this kind of explains my post in market analysis from before. But if you look at how these things kind of work, let's just, clear all my drawings. We're just gonna go to like a 12-hour chart. Maybe we'll go to a longer chart. Okay, let's take this chart, right? This is a very clear range. And we're just going to draw the range, right? Range low, range mid, range high, right? And this is kind of what I think BTC would do if we went to the range high, right? If you look at this, right, old range high gave us a nice bounce, which is pretty much the same thing we're seeing on BTC now. And again, I try to keep my analysis super simple, so I'm not going to talk about indicators or moving averages and stuff like that. This is really all I care about. So we go to our chart, right? Where is it? Yeah. Let's just clear everything again. Right. This is our range. Roughly, right? And right now, we just kind of bounce off the range high. So again, in this case, we don't actually go all the way back, but that would probably be just this whole bit here. Now, if you guys look what happened on Sol, once we got a close and reject off the range high, we just nuked back to the old range low, right? This is a super, super clean chart. I mean, sure, you can move this up, slightly. It doesn't really matter, right? Range high reject, straight down to range low. This is not a complicated kind of structure to analyze, right? So again, I don't like buying all around here is fine because when the thing stops nuking against Bitcoin, you don't really know how far it's going to run. So just buy. Like I've been buying throughout the whole week. I don't think anything wrong with that. Oh my God, they just keep spamming our server. Who are you and where do you come from? God, stop. Sorry. I'm just mass banning them all again. I don't want to accidentally ban real people either. But there's nothing I can really do. They literally just keep coming. Cool. All right, yeah. So pretty much once we get back to this, this is pretty clean. Just range high to range low. So with BTC, right, what I wouldn't want to see is a scenario where we end up, right, back inside the range, because in that case, I actually think we'll go to here. Honestly, I have no real interest in in bidding anywhere around here, because all of this is just a range, and the place that we're more than likely to go is all the way back to the range low. So that's why, honestly, I've been buying throughout all of this, because I think if we are bullish, this is going to stop before there and before here, and that's why I was long. Um, yeah, so obviously, getting stopped out down here kind of sucks, but live and learn. The actual idea behind the analysis, though, I don't think really was wrong. To me, this really is much of the same thing, where again, we're continuing to front run these key levels. And as long as you do that, I think it's fine, right? Like, the problem again comes with something like this, where you're now back inside the range. And again, where is resistance on this? It's pretty obvious, right? It's going to be up here. I don't know if we can accept above it, but that's kind of where I would look for the market to sort of head for now, is back up to make these retests. So I think I said it before a couple times, is you want to see alts make these key retests. This is probably where they go, is back up to these key swing points or these previous support resistances, right? Like something like this, honestly, is much of the same thing. You're back all the way at the lows. Not really surprised by this. Although this one actually does look kind of bad. But still, where would I expect this to go? I would expect it to probably go into here, right? Like, I don't really think these things are that cooked if Bitcoin can catch a bid. Which it has managed to do, honestly. Like, this looks good. Like, no. Honestly, no. Like crypto, I think people are really, really bearish at this point. Like, I saw people are just writing the top is in and all this stuff. I don't think you, like if you're in crypto, right, you have to accept that it's not the same game as it was when you started, right? Especially with ETFs and all that stuff. There's just so much more liquidity in this now. I don't really think it's the true game of the pump and dumps like it used to be. I don't think Bitcoin goes to zero. I don't think Solana goes to zero. I'm not arguing that these things have any purpose or utility, by the way. I'm just saying that they're much more player versus player now versus just rug pull season on the major coins. And do I think Solana will go lower? Only if this happens. Like, only if Bitcoin goes back below 75 or whatever, right? If you continue to front run this and make higher lows, no, I don't know why this would go lower at all, right? And there's also, again, people aren't, like, kind of neglect this, but we are super early on into the year, right? Making some sort of yearly wick is not bad, right? You just have a massive yearly pump and dump. But there's nothing wrong with this chart, right? This still looks fine. Again, not arguing this is the most bullish thing in the world by any stretch, but you could see it go all the way back down to there. Like, it's not impossible. But it's also quite a fearful perspective, honestly. It's not... If you read my approach to crypto cryptic in this section, it does. And my honest answer is I don't really care if it goes down another 50% or not. Like, it will suck, and I will be upset. Don't get me wrong. But if you follow this kind of general strategy to any crypto stuff, you won't really lose, even if the prices do correct some crazy amount. And eventually, right, if they do go up, which I would expect them to, you will end up making quite a bit more money. And no, I don't know. I don't really think this is the same kind of game as it used to be, where we go back to $40. But if it is, listen, if you really are bullish on crypto in the sense of it actually being something useful, then it doesn't matter to you, and it shouldn't. Like, the amount more interest and money and publicity into this compared to 5-6 years ago, I wouldn't really focus on the current prices if I was an actual spot holder. I would, like, genuinely, that's my genuine advice. I know I mostly talk about, really only take spot as a trade. But if it's a small percent of your portfolio, hey Mika, and it's something you really like, it doesn't matter. Like, it does not matter. And again, for me, I like Solana because to me, Solana is DeFi. So yeah, I like Solana's kind of the backbone for DeFi on Jupiter. I think it has utility in that sense. I don't think the meme stuff is good, but that's kind of why I would just sort of keep buying this regardless of what price it went to. I do see the value in DeFi, which just collects fees back into Sol. So I don't know. I don't really see this one thing as a thing that goes to zero, but it's fair. I think honestly, you would have to see this go down another leg. Sorry, Bitcoin to go below the range, right? Like in this, I was just buying all throughout because there was no weakness against BTC, right? Now I think you want to see if this kind of strength against the market continues. So if we go look at Sol BTC, and this is actually a better way of visualizing it. This is a much better chart, right? Higher highs and higher lows, right? And that's just because, well, yeah, it depends on BTC, right, which is kind of rugged out, but it also just depends on how this chart holds up, honestly. Like if Solana continues to outperform Bitcoin, it might not matter as much like we've seen in the last couple days. But I think it's kind of the same trade where you need BTC to go up and Sol to kind of just underperform. But again, to me, opportunities in both. It just really depends on if we accept below 74 or 75. I think ETH as well is an interesting one. I don't know what to think about this, honestly. I'm not that bullish. But you haven't lost the wick. I don't want to get too bullish and say we do something like this. It's kind of a bit of an obvious trade. But this doesn't look bad. Like it doesn't. You've swept the yearly, you swept like last year's lows, which I guess is kind of good. Maybe. It's not amazing. It's really not. I think what you'd want to look for is a reclaim of this. And I talked about it a little bit earlier this week. Like if we lose this whole thing here, we would probably just cascade. And granted, I didn't take my own advice because we did. We definitely did cascade. So from here, you'd want to see a reclaim of that before you can honestly really want anything. And that sucks, but it's true. And again, like this stuff does not surprise me. Like I know I talked about the potential for a cascade if we did lose these regions, and kind of seeing the way this played out, it doesn't surprise me, right? Once we lost the wick, it was just over, right? Lights out. And this makes a lot of sense. Like it's a very, very clear key pivot point, right? Even if I keep drawing this even more across, right? So it's not a particularly surprising gap down. The question is just going to be, is this region enough to give us a gap back up? Which I wouldn't rule out, honestly. I think there's so much news surrounding crypto, especially with presidency and all that stuff. I'm not going to say that I think it's bullish, but what I will say is there's never been this much interest, like just in a global perspective. So maybe cheap prices before higher. I think it's an honest thesis, and it wouldn't surprise me that much. But again, I just don't know. A lot of coins also don't look that great, like this one. As much as I want this to look good, it just doesn't. So we are rejecting below the wick, and again, I've been buying some of this, not a crazy amount, little bits around here, little bits around here, pretty much just getting stomped on all the way through. So I'm glad I've only been buying small amounts, but yeah, this does not look great. You don't really want to see this back inside the range, right? And that's pretty much where you are. So back to a 3-day chart. I think if you end up back inside of here, right? Pretty logical that we would come for this. Something like this as well, looking at Psi. This doesn't look bad. Yeah, I like this one. Not a bad looking chart. I think this coin definitely has some potential depending on how things go. But yeah, like there's a lot of different ways you could look at this one. Exactly, and it's possible. Like again, I don't want to go that far and say it's definitive because I don't know, but I really haven't seen a bear market with actually this much news. Like you've got a Solana ETF, like you've got a lot of stuff coming. The Ethereum one I have no read on. Like honestly, Ethereum I give up on, but I do still buy it as a just in case type thing. But Solana, BTC, kind of those major ones. I do personally think we are going higher. I'm kind of in the perma bull territory at the moment. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but perma bull does feel like the correct answer at the moment. And also, there's just the fact that again, if you do follow the strategy I put out, um, you if it becomes a perma bull, you will be rich one day. Honestly, not well, maybe not rich, but you will make a lot of money just kind of following that approach and keeping a fixed percent of crypto. Yes. Well, we all are a little bit. But no, like, again, it's if you are bullish on this chart, right? It's not just a chart, right? Like you have to keep in mind SPF. Let's see. This one I think was the most important because Solana was directly tied to them, right? You, it's not just a chart at the end of the day. It's not like I hope you guys aren't checking your like long-term stocks every day. It's not worth it. And it's kind of the same thing with this. Is for me like if you look at what I hold only DeFi coins. And to me this is the ultimate DeFi coin. So that's kind of my logic with this. Stuff that is bad will continue to look bad. Like these charts don't surprise me. I think I actually drew these out a while ago. But yeah, none of this looks surprising. All these things are at the lows. Again, this is kind of interesting because it's kind of like Ethereum, but again, it's not great. None of these things are that great. I did have coffee. I don't know why I'm so tired today. Maybe it's because I got stopped out of my funded account at the bottom. That might be why. Just getting a charger. It actually is crazy. Like that trade was so perfect too. Yeah, just scammed by $100. I agree. I still think the finance is the stupidest thing ever. Like that's why I took the gamble trade is because I knew there wasn't going to be a better opportunity to pass it. Like honestly, like that is the reason. And that's also why I'm so fucking annoyed is because you're not gonna find another day that you can just blindly like the days where you get 5k 6k volatility moves up do not exist. I knew this was kind of the one opportunity to go for something like that. So the fact that I get stopped on it at the very bottom just sucks because like it would have worked. Like it just would have worked. Obviously closing the copy trade after was just icing on the cake. Honestly, just cheers to that one. But you know what? We come back stronger. Like end of the day, I guess I'm sort of still proud of myself that I could identify the trade. Yay, you know, all the skill and money that you get out of doing that. But honestly, it's not the end of the world. You know, that kind of stuff happens. It's just trading. And yes, I would rather trade my own money any day of the week. Honestly, like the copy trade is harder. It's because like people like I feel like so much pressure to do well on it. Like I don't want to lose for other people. I literally closed it because I didn't want to take the same fucking loss that I took on the funded. And then yeah, so live and learn. It is definitely a challenge. There's a couple other things I think are interesting we can look at. For one, you've got SPY, and again, I don't think this looks that bad. Like, I really don't. Oh, my computer is about to die. Should plug that in. And again, this is just sort of bouncing at the lows, where again, it looks fine. Like, it doesn't look good, but it looks fine. Kind of just the same bullshit we've had all week. It's great. Like, honestly, this has been the stalest, most boring things that I've seen in a while from the market. But boring markets are when you buy. Like, there's not really much else I can say. It's annoying because again, you can't time the bottom. And you want to make sure that you have enough exposure when prices do go up. Like, I think people have this problem where, like, they go all in on spot because they need to have, they think if the prices go up 100% from here, I'll only make $50, so I need to put more money in. And the problem is that they're not, like, even if that were true, you still make more money if you stay in cash, because if prices go down, you'll be able to buy more coins than you could have in the first place with less money. Like, that's the honest reason of why always keeping at least some cash makes sense. Is no matter how much money you put in at a certain price, there will probably always be a lower price that you can add more, and honestly just have a bigger position for the day that prices eventually do go up. YOLO. Valid. YOLO is very valid advice. Let's see. It's a bit, like, I think it's a bit early to try to offer some sort of, like, long frame conclusion. Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, guys, we are going to do this. We're going to reclaim and then go to 100 and then back down again. Like, there's no point of drawing something this far out, in my opinion. It's just not worth it. Like, I could try, and I do think, what I honestly think is that if we do something like this and get back above here, which is a lot of work. You could be more generous and say above here. Right, if you get back above there, I actually do think you'll probably go back to here. And the reason is just because, again, if we draw this out into a range, right, we'll make this whole thing a range, this would become effectively a range low to a range high deviation. Right? So if we draw this all out, go to a chart, right? If we re-accept inside the range low, we can expect to deviate above the range high. This is just usually how it works. Like, this isn't like a crazy prediction either, right? We've seen this like literally 1,000 times. Every time you deviate and get back above the lows, you will come back for the range highs. So this isn't the range, though. Correct, this is not the range. Kind of is. You really just have to get into here, right, and then into there. Any close above 91k. Yes, 91k is the range that you're probably watching, but it's not actually the full range. Like, look. The actual origin of this move is here, which is 85k. Right? This is kind of your gap up. This is 90k over here, and this is your actual range low. Like I understand where this comes from. It's this whole thing. Right? But you have a ton of support inside of here, and this is what's capping the price. I don't think, like, 90k is not going to act like resistance if we do get there. I don't think hope is bad. Like, again, I've been again, I've been, despite how shit it's been, I have been buying small bits all the way down. Not much, but enough that it hurts. And again, I'm not that unoptimistic. I'd be a lot happier if I actually kept this trade, but, like, again, this doesn't look bad, and I think there's not really a point, I don't think, in catastrophizing for 70 and 60k. These kind of things happen. Doesn't mean zero. This is only like a 40% pullback or something. Like, it's still not the kind of, it's like, again, you want it to be quick if it's gonna come. You just gotta hope. Like, that's about it. The bottom never feels like the bottom when you're there. I'm not saying this is it, but bottoms are quick. Oh yeah, you're right. Ponzi coin being a Ponzi. What else is new? But if this is a quick wick and you accept back inside the range, that's extremely bullish, and then you'll see Twitter calling for 130k again within a couple, like, literally hours. Literally within hours, man. People will be back on Twitter screaming for the highs if we get back above 90k. Like, it's just the way it goes, and you know that too. Like, honestly, some days, right, everyone's calling for zero, and the next day we're all calling for all-time highs. I don't think this move really changes that much from that perspective. Like I just don't. I don't see this being some sort of cataclysmic drop that we never recover from, like I've seen a lot of people saying. Yeah, but it's one monthly candle and you're in a new year. It's yeah. I told you to sell the Trump pump in January. You know that like it was obvious. You know blah 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 blah. Solana's going to zero. Every single person I've talked to is now an educated economist. Okay, and they understand that Solana can never go up again because it has scams on it. Every single person says this. I have not met one person who has not told me Solana has no utility. It's only for scams and liars. It's going to zero because no one can actually use it. This is just fundamentally not true, and no one would tell you this in real life if they actually had the price going up that week. It's just not true. Like the Solana does a lot of different things. Even if you think they're useless, it's not just for memes and scams. Yes, like fundamentally yes, as much utility as the others, if not more, because of the DeFi thing and the fact that again all these different chains offer utility in the sense they work, but Solana and ETH are probably the only two that have enough liquidity that real people would put money there. Like I don't think real DeFi players are putting money on like Matic, right? They're not. It'd be ridiculous. All and the fees on Solana make it the most logical. It's just cheaper. So I'm not saying that it's the best utility coin, but you can make memes and all this crap on any chain. Like that doesn't disqualify something from having value, in my opinion. It's just not a very good argument. Right now it's minus 32. What's minus 32? Oh, yeah. Yeah. That sounds. Yeah, minus 32% sounds about right. But again, if chain for people to get rugged easier. Yep. All this is true. All of this is true. But it has. But like that's also not a. Oh yeah, ETH. I definitely say ETH because of the security things. Like the actual chain is just not safe, or MetaMask is just not safe in my opinion. I don't keep anything there. But honestly, like again, if you really are the kind of person who's gonna hold this crypto for like 3 4 years, um, take a few concentrated bets and just hope for the best. Like you will not make yourself more money trying to time the bottom and trying to sell and buy back in. If you, I hate DCA as a strategy. I do. I really do. But to some degree, it kind of works if you're just gonna hold forever anyway. Like that is the one case where it makes sense. If you're never gonna sell, then you can add as much as you want. So who cares? The only thing is you got to be smart about it, right? Add at the key ranges, right? The reason why I said I'm not going to buy more Sol between 70k and 80k is because if we go below this range, I think we'll go into this range. It's not like like it's just about being kind of strategic with it. Again, like where did I buy Sol, right? I bought here, which is high, but this bid makes sense. This was the old highs, right? I bought here. I bought all of this. I don't know exactly. Just this range here. And then the next place I'll probably buy is around here. Deeper look. I don't think I did. It doesn't look great. Look, this is my original ICP trade. Check this was such a banger when it came. I missed the days that I was taking these trades. God, these felt good. But now I don't know if I feel the same way looking at this. Actually, yeah. Not a bad looking. Again, it's just stuck at this region, so if you can get above here, I think it looks quite good. Um, would look for $8, 8.3, give or take, somewhere around there. This looks good. Once you get above there, you've got a pretty clean range. It's a bit like ETH, right? You wicked the range, yeah, you swept last year's lows, right? Yeah, not bad. Not a bad looking coin. Um, what I like about this, honestly, is that your invalidation, I think, is really obvious, right? If you just lose this block. It's sort of a pretty easy trade. So, yeah, like all of this 5.8 to 5.5 is a nice support. I actually do think this gives a decent bounce. Probably, yeah, probably like $8 around here. Like, this is where I would look to sell. Because what I think will happen, and I think this will happen on BTC as well, and ETH, is you'll run these stops. So, like, this is what I actually do think is the expected outcome of this move. As insane as I might sound. I think what you're going to do is trade into here. And you will run all of these equal highs, right? Because, like, these are super, super exposed. So eventually I do think we get a move up that runs all this over. And it might just be a squeeze, right? But if you look at this, this has been literally nothing but lower highs. This would kind of coincide really nicely with that. Yeah, this is what I think will happen. I'm just going to post this. This looks good to me. Someone send this to the market maker, because this is probably what happens next. I actually don't think I've seen a more likely chart in a while than this. All right, good night, Zoli. I'm actually just gonna post this into here. All right. And again, I think most coins will kind of do this exact same pattern. So, some variant of this, if we're bearish, right? If we're bearish, some variant of that. But I actually don't think we're like that bearish. Like, what I really think is gonna happen, and I hate to draw it, like I'm gonna feel so fucking stupid when it doesn't happen. But my gut really does think that we will accept above there, and squeeze right over that. I think the target is right around there. Honestly, like, I really honestly think this is what's gonna happen, but it's hard, man. It is hard. I think we probably get that move up eventually. Hey, what else can we take a look at? Gonna put this one up as well. My stop will mark my stop will mark a generational bottom. And that will feel good. I did, and honestly, I like Sherlock. I think Sherlock's a good trader. It just makes me want to long. Like, it's so obvious. This short is like the single most obvious thing ever. You can't tell me you don't look at this and go, this is literally the perfect setup. Range low, retest, and then I nuke it to the old range highs. If he's right, like if the market's bearish, then he's right. Um, but I think he will get blown out if he is right. Like, if we really are going to get this big short, you will not get to short the range lows. It will just not bounce at all, or it will just go straight through his, like, straight through that, go to 100K, and then nuke afterwards. But I find it really hard to believe that that specific setup will work. It's just too perfect. Like, it correctly is using so many trading concepts that it's probably just doesn't work. The price should not have the strength to trade above the old range lows. That's probably why the short is there. So that, like, I get it. It's just that kind of, yeah, like, I just don't see it. Yeah. It's just a very, very perfect setup that if we get it, I think it's just too obvious. It's like longing the CME gap kind of thing. I don't know. I've said it a lot in my stream that, like, very obvious setups don't work. If you get, like, the bid that everybody wants, you probably just get destroyed, generally speaking. Like, okay, with, like, the example, I guess, would be this week. People really wanted to bid, 88K or 89K, and destroyed. But, again, if he is right and the market is bearish, this will work. Or some variation of this will work. And I think he should raise his targets, if I'm being honest, because if this short is... I think the trend line is kind of ludicrous, to be honest. Like, I don't think the trend line really does much here. But if I was him and I got this short to actually hit, I would be looking for 57K, like he has marked on his chart. I wouldn't even bother TPing at 70K. I did record it, actually, yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's just too obvious. It's like, it's just, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Historically, though, like, that doesn't work, I will say. Like, there was never a point um, in here, really, where you could have shorted 60K and gotten away with it. Maybe once, right? But generally, shorting these range low retests, right, usually got you round tripped pretty quickly. So yeah, I just don't believe that the market's done, so I'm not running to do it. That's all. No disrespect to Sherlock, though. I think he's an excellent trader. Dude, on the prop trade that, like, I guess you don't know. I don't know when you joined, but yeah, on the prop trade that would have passed my account that I took, I was up 3,500 originally, round tripped it to a breach, and then I would have round tripped it back to a pass. So yeah, round tripping here is my specialty as well. But listen, like, sometimes it's worth it. Like, as hard as it is, if you really do get a perfect entry, it's better to round trip it than close it for pennies on the dollar, in my honest opinion. Like honestly, if you really are the person that longed like 79K and you closed it here, it sucks. Like, you're better off round tripping it to zero and just holding it. Honest opinion. There are like moments where I think taking profit makes sense. Like, there are tons of scalp opportunities, intraday trades, but there are kind of key pivot points that if you can swing an entry and add to it on the way up, those will pay you more than any of your other trades combined. Especially with a tight stop, if you can sort of make that work. All right. I guess any other coins you guys want me to look at? I have not done a ton of market analysis this week. I'm sorry, guys. I've been very focused on project aspects. of everything. Psy. I think I did look at Psy. This one doesn't look bad. It's kind of like a. I'm not running to buy this honestly, but you are back inside of this range and above. So if you can hold this region, I think you will pump pretty hard. Honestly, the only level I would watch is that one. Make sure that you can get above here. This probably gives a challenge, but if you do, right, then it's just all open air, pretty much, right? Like, if you can get this MSB, you've got so much room to run to the upside. So, kind of 3 key levels to watch. They're all pretty obvious. Nice. It's honestly a pretty nice range. Would watch this, this, and this. And if you do kind of get below here again, probably lights out, but don't want to say for sure. Either way, I wouldn't really have much interest on buying this underneath that wick. A few other ones I wanted to check out that I bought recently. I bought some Pepe. Again, like $100 worth, not much, but decent chart. You get above here, then there's some room. Again, not buying massive chunks of this thing. Small buys. Very small buys. Like, not even 0.1% of my account. Same with this. Been buying this for a few days as well. Not crazy amounts, just small buys. Doesn't look bad. Holding up well against the rest of the market. Looking for $1 or something. Maybe up there. No exact target, but I think it's worth accumulating this. Again, if you want to see my personal spot allocation, you guys can read it over there. And then there's a couple. Oh, yes. Also, I still like gold. I've mentioned this a couple times, but I just buy this usually. It's just crypto gold. Really weird chart, but yeah, it's just gold on Solana. Every coin is linked to an actual gold bar. So pretty cool concept. Easy way to hold gold. So if you are interested in gold, that is how I would do it. Nero might be a good trade coin, honestly. I saw this one from, I think someone in the chat mentioned it. This might be a good scam coin to play. Get back above kind of this whole mess, and then again you've got a lot of room. Probably like here. All these things are just kind of in a tough spot because you've got a decent amount of upside. Right, again, Luna. Damn it, Cryptic, we should have bought Luna. We were right. We actually were right on. I should have actually bought the Luna thing. That was 100% correct. Wow. We suck. Look at that. This actually doubled. Wow. It's only the trades I don't take. I'm telling you. It's literally just the trades I don't take. But yeah, I'm going to buy this on spot. This looks good. Honestly, this looks quite good. I like this. Starting my Luna bag later today, I suppose. That is so annoying, man. The one, like, again, I like on that copy trade, I called out whiff a while ago. This is like a very, very short trade, but I took it on leverage on my personal account, and I longed whiff here. Right? And closed it. No, not there. Yeah, here. Like, got this sweep, went up 40%. It's the one trade I skipped on the copy trade in the funded account. Like, honestly, it literally just feels like all the trades I don't take are the ones that work. At least this month. But can't win them all. And honestly, statistically, I'm like running out of bad luck. I don't think it's even possible. So I'm due for my own personal pump at some point. But yeah, Luna looks good. I'll definitely buy some small bags of this. And again, small bags, nothing crazy, but wow, this is just disappointing, man. Like, we knew. We literally did know, too. Sometimes you're just cursed. I can't even like honestly the urge to smash my keyboard yesterday was seriously intense. Honest, like it was a challenge. It was a challenge not to. This doesn't look amazing. Like it looks okay. Get back inside the wick and I'll have a bit more confidence. Oh yes. Speaking of copy traders, yeah, I will do my best. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Not much else can say about that. Fetch. Nah. I don't really want to buy this. This one looks the worst of all of them. Like now you're just trading below everything. There's really nothing bullish about this chart at all. Same with this one. Like you want to talk about things at zero? This is what zero looks like. This also again is like okay, but it's not amazing, and that's kind of the problem. Is like you'd want these things to have some seriously overblown reaction. Like if you look at Sol, this is what you want: is the market to stop nuking and then your coin to outperform. The other ones just haven't managed to do that. So, my general interest there is not much, right? Like notice this one is at the MSB, and this one is still at zero. Pretty big difference between those two, and it's important. Like it is important. When something like that starts to stall against the market, you want it to give an aggressive pump when the market does finally revert. If it can't, you usually get the kind of price action where it just rolls over, right? Like if we look at from like an LTF perspective, it usually just turns into this, right? Weak bounce, doesn't get MSB, and then we just go lower. So you don't want this. You don't want this little thing here to be a microcosm of this. And you guys can kind of see the similarity, right? Support, support, nuke, right? Support, 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 nuke, weak test, and then lower. So again, you just don't want to see that do that, because that would be quite bad. But yeah, I mean, and again, this is kind of why I think if we are really going to nuke, that 91K bid is just never going to get filled. Just because it would give so many people exits that they frankly would not deserve. That Kato coin is interesting. I've seen it. I've seen it in a couple different places. I'm not really sure what I think of this one. It's so new that it's hard to say. Is my honest verdict on it. I know we talked about it last week, and I said short it around here. I don't know what it does, so I don't want to give you a super in-depth answer. But from a TA perspective, you hold this 1.9, it's pretty bullish. And honestly, the most interesting coin of all is Pi coin. Surprisingly, like yeah, this looks good. You're just not amazing, but you're just holding key levels and grinding up higher. So hard to be super bearish on that. Same with Kato. Like all these newer coins are actually doing quite well compared to the rest of the market, which is probably a product of dilution, I want to say, but honestly, I don't know. Yeah, you know it. Like again, all these new coins kind of have the same playbook, where they start out super great, you know, nice range, and then they do that. So yeah, that's my personal perspective on all these coins. Because if they don't really do anything, they will probably do much like this, um, and end up going to. I mean, this isn't zero, right? Not zero. Just I don't know how many percents is this down. Just a casual 1,300% or so, and then you get back to break even. So, you know, when the market finally does pump, and Bitcoin goes to 100K, I think this is a very very reasonable prediction, don't you guys? Honestly, I mean, if you're not bullish on Stark, I don't know what there is to be bullish on. Same with ApeCoin, really much of the same. Although honestly, again, this is a coin that I want to say should give another scam pump, like, like, yeah. I would wait for this thing just to scam up again, honestly, because it probably will, and then I would short it again. This one, the Stark one, is so. I keep this one bookmarked because it's so bad. It's not even capable of giving you a squeeze. It's almost unreal. I really have never seen a coin this bad. You could have been permanently shorting it for the better past of the year. I don't even know why. I've talked about it every stream. I don't even know why, because it literally just goes down. I need to update this watch list, honestly. We'll add Kato to this. With Oh yeah, Jupe. I like Jupe. I still like Jupe. Been buying this one for a while. Um, haven't added that much just because we haven't lost the existing range, right? We're just still in this larger range, so this one looks good. I'm not bearish. Not really that bullish either per se, but until you break down from this block, there's no reason to be selling. This looks totally fine, even with all the hack and all that news around Hayden and all that stuff. Yeah, this looks fine. So yeah, not unhappy about this coin. Definitely a thing I want to keep looking at. And again, guys, we'll be hosting the other event on Sunday with Sweat. I think I just misunderstood what he actually wrote, so I got the dates wrong, not him. But yeah, we'll move that to Sunday. I think around 5:30, um, and then yeah, we will get that done, and we'll be fun. Will be fun. Honestly, I think most people at the moment aren't trading very much, just in general. Which I mean, I wouldn't be either. It's pretty brutal, pretty brutal out here, guys. So if you haven't got yourself wrecked up to this point, you are doing something right. So honestly, don't be too down about the accounts and all that stuff. I'm glad I am a hypocrite because I'm telling myself the opposite. But honestly, these conditions have been absolutely brutal. You know, if you are ever long and wrong, there's never been an exit. So try not to beat yourselves up too much, because it will turn around. It will. It just takes time. Londo as well looks okay. Like again, never lost the wick. Small sweep. Does not look bad. Really does not. Anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna call this one a stream. Thank you guys all for coming out. I'll get this guy up on the recordings. I know this was a bit smaller, but it appears the timing was a disaster. But yeah, I appreciate you guys all coming.